In this session, we're going to discuss how to set up concerns under the work order setup in the enterprise. So from my main ribbon, when I go to enterprise setup, we're going to go search for work order setup. And in here, you're going to find concerns. So your concerns are going to be what you're going to actually enter onto a work order to document what the customer's complaint is. So before we get into this in too much detail, let's go over to a work order, or at least start writing a work order and see how these are going to be used. So we'll go pull this over. We're going to go into a location here. I'm in location 2. I'm going to go to work orders. Let's say I have a customer that's walking in the door and he says, well, hey, I've got a problem with my tires. Can you check them out? So I'm going to go start a work order. Pull up my customer. Let's say it's Mr. Jackson here. Select the vehicle. I'm going to hit next. So when I get to this screen here, I'll open it up for tires. And here you will see a series of concerns. Now concerns will always have a little pink exclamation mark, so it's easy to tell. He says maybe I have a noise or something. I can click. And then what it's going to do is it's going to enter into this box here some simple questions. So this is to give you a place to document what the customer's actual complaint is. You know, maybe they're making noise at high speed or something like that. So once you write in what the complaint is, you select add, and then the system will pull up what we call the related services. So I might want to also do a diagnosis and or a tire and wheel inspection. So if I want to put the inspection on, I select the box, hit OK. Now I've entered a concern and an inspection. Concerns will always have a red title at the top, and it will be that way in the work order itself. So concerns are designed for you to document in a work order what the customer's complaint is. That's what this is for. And they will typically have related items that you'll be able to add to the work order at the same time if you wish. So let's go back to our enterprise. So in here, you're going to see a series of concerns typically for every category. So if I go to my tires and wheels, here are my concerns. Let's kind of break one down. So we're going to take this tire noise and let's see how it's made. I'm going to double click. Double clicking is the same thing as me highlighting it and going up to the top and hitting edit. It's also the same thing if I just right click and edit. All the same, all the same. So this is going to be broken down with a title and our questions. This is considered what we call the header. So the header is going to be your title line and then your description or whatever questions you have. Typically in a concern, there is no labor, no parts, no sublet. So we're not actually adding parts or labor here. It's just documenting what the customer's complaint is. This is telling it what category it's under. See, it's under tires and wheels. Now, if I want to take this concern and move it to a completely different category, I certainly can. I can open it up and move it over to, say, oil lube maintenance. And once I hit save, it'll shift it over. So if I hit save, see, it's no longer here. Now, if I go to my oil lube maintenance, I'll find it here. Then you can always move it back. So you can move these around if you need to. This code box is typically used for a couple of things. Code allows you to search for this particular concern. So when I'm writing a work order or once I'm in a work order, I can search for it by a code. I can also search for it by the title, Sometimes code will be used in some of your rules for specific things, like maybe a margin labor or a margin matrix or something like that. And you can set it by a code. Duration would be how long do you think this would take. When I create a work order and schedule it as a future appointment, it will put some time in there so you'll know how long you're booking or how much time you're booking in. And then do not show the pricing for each line. This is only going to be used when you're using parts, labor, or sublet. But typically in these concerns, these will not be used. So whenever we do create a concern in here, we will almost always have what we call related components. So a related component would be, what other things do I want to enter onto the work order along with the concern? So as you can see, we have a diagnosed tire concern and the tire and wheel inspection. So how do these get on here? Let me go delete this one and we'll show you. So I want to be able to add a related inspection. So if I want to do an inspection, I go here. If I want to do a service, it would be here. So we're going to add an inspection. We're going to go search for that inspection. There it is. I just simply click on it once, click on OK at the bottom right corner, and then it's going to ask me, how do I want to relate it? Do I want to recommend it? Do I want to require? Do I want to replace? I'm just going to recommend it. So now I have my related components here. The third part is locations. So locations, by default, the system will automatically go to all locations. That's the default in here. So if you want it to go to a different or specific locations, you can certainly do that by changing this. I want to go to certain locations, so you can pick and choose which location. So I have 3 locations in my enterprise and I can pick and choose what I want. So if I click one, hit OK, there you go. Once it's set up, we save it, and then we have our concern set and ready to go. Now, there's going to be times where you're going to want to change these. You can certainly open them up and change the titles and stuff, but you may want to make new ones or different ones that are in here. Okay. So there's 2 ways to do this. You can go up to the top here and hit add, and you can create a brand new concern from scratch. So if I want to create a new one, I'd say, well, I'm going to go put that in the tires and the wheels. I need to go edit the header, set up a title, a little description. Not going to use a labor line, so I'm going to delete the line. I can code it if I wish. Then I have to go set up all the related components, whatever I want to relate to it. And again, locations will automatically go to all. Which, that's not so bad until you start wanting to get a lot more detail, or I just want to do something very quick. So we have another feature in here that's called duplicate. I might want to just create a concern that's just called tire concern. Kind of use it as a generic concern. So I can click on any concern in here, right click, and duplicate it. So duplicate duplicates everything, even the related and the locations. Okay. So all I need to do now at this point is maybe change the title. So I go edit my header. So I might say, well, it's got a tire concern. So by doing this, I've duplicated it, made a couple little changes here. Change that, might want to change a question or 2. Click on save, and now I have a whole nother concern. And now that resides here. This will automatically go to the location or locations you choose. And that is how a concern is made and updated at the enterprise. So let's go over to the location and see what happens. Now, since I added a new one here, I need to get it to show up at the location. So I can close this up and log off and go log back on. That'll refresh it. I can do that. And I can do other things too, but let's just do this to start with so you can see how this works. So I'll log back in. Now we're going to go over to our location. Let me get that back up here. And let's go see it. So I'm in my location 2. I'm going to go to setup. I'm going to go look and see if that concern is there. So we go over to tires and wheels. That tire concern is not here yet. So what that's telling you is it has not synchronized with the enterprise yet. So to get it to synchronize, I can log off and log back on. This is one way to do this. We will talk more about synchronization in a later tour. So we'll go to setup again. Go to my concerns. See if it shows up. There's my tire concern. So what is this actually telling me? Again, it's in gray. So gray means coming from the enterprise. Okay. So it's coming from the enterprise. If I look at my column here, box is checked, and it's synchronized with the enterprise. So if I double click and open this up, now I see my concern. And it's going to tell you at the very bottom here, see, this template is synchronized with the enterprise template. So this is an exact match to the enterprise. Now, since this is the case, if I try to change something, I can't. You notice everything is grayed out at the top of the screen here. So I can't change that. So how would I go about changing this if I need to at the location? At the location. The only way you can do that here is to override. Now what override does is it disconnects the synchronization. Still coming from the enterprise, but it just disconnects the synchronization. So if I save it, you see how that box is unchecked now on the far right. See, that's the telltale sign. So now if I want, I can do a minor edit. I can't change the title, but I can certainly change the questions. If I want to add a footer, I can add a footer. Now I can add a labor line, a part line, sublet line if I want. Can I add an inspection? See, I can go add maybe a different inspection or a different service package. Now, the other feature that we have here also at the location is called hide from view. Hide from view. So what is this going to do for me? What this does is this hides this concern at the work order level. Service writer, when they go to write a work order, will not see it whatsoever. They will see the others, but not this one. So again, if I go back to my work orders, even if I try to add it here or write a new work order, doesn't matter. When I go to add, if I look under tires and wheels, you see, you do not see that concern because I hid it from view. It doesn't delete it, it just hides it from your service advisors. And sometimes people will hide them because they're working on them, or maybe they just don't want them to be used, but don't necessarily want to delete them. So again, a concern is to give you and your service writers a place to document on a work order what the customer's complaint is, really not designed for jobs, and it will typically have related items that they can add along with the concern. Unhide it. Now I want to synchronize this back to the template. So I'm going to come up here and synchronize. And now that connects it all back to the template. So those are concerns.